president is clearly very frustrated about the unwillingness of the Russians to agree to a ceasefire and to end this war. And that frustration is reflected in these recent decisions. The entire context has changed since a couple of years ago when people were focused on inflation and price controls and all of that. The frustration of the president, I think, has to be addressed in some way, because this war has gone on too long. It has killed at least 1 million Russians, if not many more Ukrainians. And I think, there's a point where India and the United States have to have a conversation at the highest level about it. I would also say that these conversations are best done privately. The US and India can't afford to row away from each other.
I had called the penalty illegal, and I will continue to call all of President Trump's actions on the trade issues illegal, completely illegal. And therefore, the options that we have could be a few. But it is very important that we talk to our trading partners, as I had said also last time.
Unless there's more of a willingness on the part of the U.S. side to relent and make some of its own concessions, it could be difficult to come back to the negotiating table. I think in the meantime, here, India's ongoing talks with the EU about the trade deal they're trying to come out with becomes much more important. India needs to look for ways to defray the potential damage, or to ease the potential damage of these tariffs that could be coming from the US. And in that regard, getting that deal with the EU by the end of the year, the EU, of course, being another key destination for Indian exports, that would be big. That would be significant. I think it could give India a bit of breathing room. But no, the US-India relationship is experiencing one of its most difficult moments. I'd say its most difficult moment over the last 2 decades of strategic partnership.
50% no trade takes place. So trade is off the table completely as far as India and US are concerned if these tariffs kicks in. That's number one. Now, how does one take it? I don't think India can sort of accept the Trump's condition, and therefore these 50% will stay where they are, and we are in for a situation where the trade is lost. We'll need to look at other options of exporting these goods elsewhere, or consume it domestically till the time the Trump system implodes and the American consumers revolt to make this reverse.
President Trump is, trying to show his deal-making skills, and India may be kind of the excuse he may be using to put pressure on President Putin. I don't think the market expects a follow-through of the real impact of tariffs on India curtailing Russian exports. So therefore, I am somewhat more sanguine about the fact that the tariffs will really hit at that stage. And in the meantime, India is obviously working on a trade deal, and the two things come together, some kind of a deal that Putin offers and some kind of a deal that India does, and these tariffs will all be in the rearview mirror without ever really hitting Indian exporters the level that that 50% would imply.
The deals are likely to change over the next several days and weeks, but I don't believe that anything will change unless India does make some changes. We have to remember that certain sectors have actually been excluded from the high tariffs, pharmaceuticals and electronics, which really I think would go toward the U.S. helping India to reindustrialize in these key sectors.
Well, I think, it's very difficult for any industry to mitigate a 50% tariff. I mean, let's understand that. That's impractical. We've been talking to our customers. The customers understand this. They're supportive, and they all believe that there will be a political solution on the table sooner than later.
For Bajaj, I can tell you in a word that we are quite unconcerned, and I'll tell you why. Our exports to the US are basically in two brands, KTM, that's about 10,000 vehicles a year, and Triumph, which is about 5,000 vehicles a year. So, firstly, it's a 15,000 vehicles a year in a volume of about 5 million vehicles. So that's less than 0.5% as far as volume is concerned. Nevertheless, it's an important market. It's a very profitable market. So it's not a business we would like to lose.
They want our US part of the business to be moved out to Bangladesh, Indonesia, and Vietnam, where we have our facilities. And I think that would be I would say, a definite for at least for this particular season, which is coming up for the Indian industry, because 50% tariff, most of the retailers won't be able to absorb or have any mitigation.
For more news and updates, all you need to do is follow CNBC-TV18 on all of our digital platforms.